So hello everyone, welcome back to Fresh Crack Friday. We are going right off the cusp of the last one. We just stopped laughing, literally.
Seconds ago.
So this is exactly what the title says. We are going to crack a Weller Special Reserve for the Fresh Crack for you folks. Little fair warning, this is one of my top 5 probably favorites, that I have, period. It's probably my favorite. It's definitely my favorite wheated bourbon. So this is Buffalo Trace's mash bill, or their wheated mash bill. And then between episode shootings, we learned that the John J. Bowman is actually Buffalo Trace's #1 mash bill. So this is the battle of the Buffalo Trace products to see who moves on for the Fresh Crack.
I'm super excited for this one because you've been talking this Weller up so much, and I like the Bowman so much. So yep. I think this is going to be a lot closer race than the 1792 was.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. So,
and for everyone listening, I did not talk Ben into cracking this open.
There is no cork pop with this one.
Yeah.
So
you will not get excited about opening this one as much as the others.
So a little bit about the Weller. This is supposed to be your budget line bourbon. This is supposed to be your $25, $28 budget line bourbon. The cheapest I have seen one of these on the shelf this year is $110 in New York. Again, I don't like it that much. I'm physically trading to get one of these. To get one. So, that's, what I like to do too, is trade for some of these bottles that I have similar value in other bottles for them to what I think they're worth. $100, I walked right past them and left them on the shelf.
But you said in Ohio, this is way cheaper?
Oh, in Ohio, you can find it under $30.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they have it on the shelf stocked all the time. You might be able, I've only seen 2 of these this year on the shelf to buy. So they're allocated. They're hard to come by here in New York. We're a very low allocation state comparatively. And liquor stores, make their prices on them.
Right.
So, and you can't beat it, and you can't beat them up for it too bad. I mean, secondary, you're still going to pay probably $65 is the cheapest I've seen it online.
Okay.
And then you'll probably pay $20, $30 in shipping for the protection and stuff.
So it's right there anyways.
Yeah, so you're going to be up there anyway for it. So,
sure.
But you can still find them if you have the good liquor stores, or you have this one I got from a friend of mine for his MSRP cost. I think he paid $40 for it.
Okay.
I don't know why I put $50 on there, but $40 for it is what he said. Which is close to MSRP as you're going to find here in New York.
Right.
So at $40, I would buy that all day long.
Right.
I'd buy a case of it at $40. So enough talking about that. We're going to have a little Weller Buffalo Trace wheated mash bill, which is also a funny story. I have the wheated White Dog in my barrel right now.
Cool.
So we'll see. We'll see if this turns into a Weller Pappy, whatever. So it's the same mash bill as Pappy as well. So if anybody's ever heard the term Pappies or whatever, it's the same mash bill. It's in Weller's. You can mix the antique and the 12 to get a poor man's Pappy, they call it, to get it closer to a Pappy flavor. So, but quiet on the set for the cork pop. Pretty good crack.
It was a little anticlimactic.
Pretty good crack. So, again, like I said, budget bottle, they're a screw top. There's no cork in this. So, and people pay $120 in New York for screw tops.
That's crazy.
It's a good bourbon, but it's not that good to me, So, I don't know. That's my take on it. Again, if it's your favorite and it's worth that to you, I just don't really want to support that secondary whiskey market like that to that amount,
for that much of a markup.
$40, I'd go for it.
But Ben was telling me earlier that in a blind test against even more expensive bourbons, this was top 3.
It's top 1 or 2 in any of my blind flights.
And that's pretty amazing.
It's my #1 wheated. I like this over the Larcenies, the Maker's Mark, any of the other Wheateds. I've tried them to try to find a more readily available replacement for it.
Sure.
That gets close to that profile.
So I love wheat beer a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. So let's see what we get on the nose with it.
I get a little ethanol-y smell. A little.
Yep. It smells like a cheaper whiskey.
It does.
Yep. I mean, again, we're talking budget bottle bourbon.
It smells like the 1792. Close to that.
It's got some similar.
Not super complex. I would say it's a little bit more complex to me than the 1792.
But I get like a little toasted kind of, like toasted oats.
Yeah.
Like a toasted oatmeal kind of smell.
And you don't have to take such a big breath.
But it's definitely got the ethanol there like a cheaper whiskey would have, which is what you would expect from a $30 bottle.
Yeah. The biggest thing, though, is taking a sniff on this. Like the 1792 we were talking about, you had to take a really big sniff.
Oh, you had to bury your nose down in it.
To get something. With this, you don't.
Yep.
And it's more in your face.
And it's 90 proof. So.
It's got a really nice color, too.
It is a nice kind of amber color. Ooh.
You ready for a sip?
Like a red apple.
Red apple.
Give it a little swirl, man.
Red apple.
Kind of like a red apple with that kind of toasted oatmeal.
Okay, I got you. I'll go with that. Toasted red apple.
Well, toasted oat with red apple. So give it a try. Then there's the wheat. There's that wheated sweet.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Again, it's not a $100 bottle.
No.
And I'll be the first to tell you that it's not a $100 bottle. $40 is the most I'd pay for it.
It doesn't taste like a $30 bottle, though.
No, it definitely punches above its MSRP value.
Not real market value.
Yeah, not secondary market value for sure. But man, it's just got that wheat sweet, and it just keeps going.
Yeah,
I love that wheated sweet. You get that wheated with the Makers. You get that similar kind of wheat profile with it that you get with those wheated bourbons. But this one is just not as much rough edges with it, and it just rolls. Even like this one will drink better than the regular standard Makers, 46 or whatever, even.
The initial flavor on this is, we just had some Bowman earlier. It's so much different than the Bowman.
Yeah. And it's not complex either.
No.
It's just a nice rolling. Again, if this was available for $30, this would be my everyday drinker.
Absolutely.
This was a great everyday drinker if you can find it. If you are in Ohio or in Texas, but again, people walk right by it in those states because they're getting other bottles at that same value that we can't get here either.
Sure.
So
different perspective.
Well, sure. Again, you could step up, get the Weller Antique for like that $49, $50 Bowman range, and that, from what I've heard, I haven't cracked it yet. That punches way above its price point. Like I know people that would pay $100 for that bottle. I know people that do pay $100, $130 for that bottle.
So overall, would you say Weller as a brand is a good bang for your buck?
At MSRP.
At MSRP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. MSRP. I think if this was a $30 bottle right now on the shelf, I'd buy a case of it. I'd buy this for a daily drinker.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, anyone watching, I've had now 2 of the Bowman, and the problem with this is I already have ideas in my head of comparing it to the Bowman.
That's
so
fair.
I have to put that out of my mind as we're drinking this.
It's so savory, though. Like that one, I got my red apple came back in my taste on that second sip.
I'm not getting so much red apple, but the toasted flavor.
You get that?
Oh, 100%. and I like that toasted flavor.
Mhm.
I really do. And what just keeps coming to the forefront of my mind though is it does not taste like a $30 bottle.
No.
The 1792 tasted like a $30 bottle.
It tasted less than $30 bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This to me tastes like a $40 or above bottle.
Yeah.
To me, it's not as complex as the Bowman.
If it was in that $50 range, I'd want it to be a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
But this one, I think it's gonna be tough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we'll see what the Bowman does. This is our second fresh crack we've shot, for complete disclosure. So I mean, we're only doing like 3/4 ounce pours, you know, and we shot these back to back. So
But we're having a lot of fun.
we're having a lot of fun with it for sure. But we're not getting to the point where we're, you know, tripping over each other on it. So
Getting silly.
got a little bit left in there, enough for the Bowman comparison.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely do that.
All right. I'm sure you leave some for the comparison if you got to go back and forth.
I don't. No.
He says nope. He's like, you letting me have my first Weller? You letting me get into
For anyone
everything?
watching, I'm new to bourbon. I've been a Scotch drinker for the past 8 years or so. One of my buddies that I went to Hobart with got me hooked on Scotch after never drinking any dark liquor in my life.
Mhm.
So before meeting Ben, I'd only had maybe 4 or 5 bourbons. So this is new territory for me. It's fun to enjoy tasting new things and not having to be at the bar and, you know, spend a bunch of money on something. So thank you, Ben, for letting me enjoy your bourbons. And
Absolutely.
for anyone that has been Scotch drinkers that wants to get into bourbon, from my perspective, it's a lot more fun because you can get into these bourbons at a lot lower price point.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to Ben earlier, you know, the Scotches I enjoy to drink are $100, you know, around there after tax minimum.
Mhm.
Where we're talking about these bottles where you're half that. And from my point of view, I like this Bowman just as much as $100 Scotch. So if you're a Scotch drinker, I would give these bourbons a try and just see what you like, and you're going to spend a lot less money if that's something you're concerned about.
Yeah, and seeing if there's a track with the way like your flavor profile goes. Like you might want that honey kind of, maybe like Eagle Rare and that Mash Bill 1 from Buffalo Trace is your flavor you gravitate to. You know, I'm not as big on the Mash Bill 1. Like they're not really one of my go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
The Heaven Hill stuff is really, you know, good with me. I love the Knob Creek from Jim Beam, those kind of profiles.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey, obviously, I'm a big turkey guy. And then the Weller line. And again, I've only had the Special Reserve and the 12-year. And the 12-year just did nothing for me, comparatively wise. But that's, I guess, you know, just me too.
Right.
I want to put the Weller Special Reserve and the 12 head-to-head and see if it really was in my head that was like a much higher dollar bottle than the Special Reserve was too.
Right.
Because again, at the end of the day, we're bargain bourbon drinkers. I mean, I do have a pretty nice selection of them, but I think my average bar cost is right around $30 a bottle. It's
Which is
pretty
reasonable.
low. It's pretty low,
Yeah.
you know, for a bar value.
But for anyone watching, that just goes to show that you don't have to spend a ton of money
Oh no,
to get an enjoyable drink.
no, not
Whether
at all.
you're drinking it on a Friday night or you're having it with friends on a weekend or
Yeah,
whatever
this-
it may be.
That would be my everyday bottle if I could get it
Yeah.
for what I get it for, or for, you know, what it should be, you know, getting it for.
Right.
Again, with the price point, pushes it up to the Bowman level in New York for most times. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would go Bowman, you know.
Yeah.
Or one of Nate's favorites is the Bladen Bow, was another good Friday night one. That's his favorite one that he's
Go
had.
to.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep, still his favorite. Out of all the ones I've had him try on the podcast, that Bladen Bow is
His go-to.
His go-to.
Gotcha.
But then again, $55 bottle.
Right.
But you can get some real good bottles at $55.
Right.
So
I just love the way this smells too.
it's complex.
It doesn't have that
Oh,
in
that smells like sweet oats, dude. Sweet freaking oats is all I'm getting on that for the Weller.
I like how complex the Bowman smells compared to
and it's more of a complex flavor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, I think the Bowman could vary it on complexity, which a $55 bottle should be a $25 bottle.
Right.
It should.
On complexity alone.
Yeah.
Right. I'm hooked. I'm absolutely hooked.
That Bowman is a stomper.
It really is. It's. Ooh.
I mean, I'll go back to the Weller, but it's just got more going on.
I just really like how it changes as it goes through your mouth and it hits you in the back of the throat.
Yeah.
And as it progresses towards the back of your throat, it's not the same flavor.
No.
And then as you let it sit there in your mouth, you know, after the fact, like I said, like 10, 20 seconds, you get even different flavors, little hits.
Little nuances.
Yeah.
Yep.
The little complex flavors that hit you as you're just sitting there.
But still rounded and full bodied. Even though they're nuances, it's not like they're not good flavors.
Right.
You know.
They're just different.
They're different. But it still has the same baseline characteristic with little nuances.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
it doesn't hit you in the face. It's fun to drink.
for 100 proof.
Yeah. It doesn't burn going down. It's not like, you know, making my esophagus burn, you know, with like a cheap hot liquor.
Yeah.
I get none of that
Yep.
as I take a sip on it.
Yeah, I would buy this over Eagle Rare any day of the week for Mash Bill 1. Absolutely.
What I like about the Bowman too is on the initial sip, it's almost mild on that as it goes in your mouth, and then as it kind of moves back, it gets more complex. But that initial sip doesn't punch you in the face.
Nope.
It's not right there.
It's almost when it goes down your throat is the most intense
Yeah.
kind of alcohol of it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Oh, God, I mean, that, again, I don't know if I'd grab that for an everyday pour for that complexity.
For
You know
an
what
everyday, no.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
No,
I think this still has its place on that Friday night pour.
Yeah.
Where that Weller is just, it's just again, and here we go back to it. If you can find it, and
Right.
if you can find it at MSRP of sub $30, super crushable. Oh, you could get in trouble with that in an afternoon or an evening for sure.
But
It's just so easy going, flowing. That's the easiest way to put it.
But as we live in the real world, and it's not that.
But it's still, and I'd put it up against a whole weeded flight blind even.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta give it for a weeded. This is your number one budget weeded. You know, up against Larceny and all those other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I bought them. I tried them to try to find that Weller profile, and I can't find it.
It's interesting to me how much different the flavor is versus the weeded versus the Bowman. It's drastically different.
Yeah, different mash bills, different grains. I believe the mash bill 1 still uses rye.
Now, drinking these kind of back to back,
Mhm.
I'm getting a much spicier profile
Pulls a little spice.
out of the Weller.
Okay.
Like, take a sip of that, take a sip of the Weller. Yeah, I'm getting a lot more spice, which I don't like spicy things, and I hate spicy scotches. And for those of you watching that have had a spicy scotch, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like spicy scotches at all.
Right.
I'm a weirdo, and really spicy things make me sneeze, so I literally cannot drink them in public because I look like an idiot.
Gotcha.
Which you will probably experience at some point, and you will laugh many times. But I prefer the smoothness and less spiciness of the Bowman versus that kind of after taste spiciness of the Weller. Myself. Do you get the spiciness out of the Weller versus the Bowman?
Going back to back, it almost pulls a a grape note out of that Bowman.
I can get that.
Has a little bit of a grape note in it.
But like your book said, like the cherry flavor, so that doesn't really surprise me. You're getting that fruity profile out of it.
Yeah, that, you know, yeah. I think it's just a lack of that honey profile. It almost makes the Weller taste spicy. The honey that Bowman kind of pushes forward with it.
You get less of the spicy.
Mm-hmm. Which a Weller is not a spicy. Like when we had that to start with, zero spice.
Yeah, it's funny that it changes a little bit.
Going back to back.
Which I'm sure...
It pulls on this, pulls on that, goes... Yep.
Yeah, it's going to change complexity a little bit as you're tasting this versus tasting that, not having water in between or whatever.
Yep.
But that's part of tasting different liquors.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and going back and forth and trying to figure this out. And this is probably our longest fresh crack we've had, just because I think it's tricky. And I think which one would move on depends on the situation you're in.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for just an easy going, you know the flavor, you know the profile, you got to almost go Weller. But if you want that Friday night, and we keep saying that, the Bowman, that's your Friday night pour.
Yep.
You know, for the fresh crack.
Like the way I would explain it, I come home from work and it's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Weller. It's Friday or Saturday.
Yep. You're going.
I'm going Bowman, hands down.
Yep.
So it really depends on, and that's true of anything, right? Like you're not, like I'm not going to come home and have a $10 bottle of beer on a Wednesday myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a Miller Lite. And on the weekend, like my favorite beer is Omegang. You know, something special. I'm going to have a bottle of Omegang.
Right.
So it's kind of, like you said, situation dependent. But again, like we've been talking about MSRP versus like the market value. If I were walking into a liquor store and I was going to spend $50 pre-tax on a bottle, I'm going to the Bowman.
Yep.
Myself.
Mm-hmm.
For like if it's within a few dollars of themselves, I'm going to go for that Bowman.
Right.
So it all really depends on what you're looking for and what you want.
Yep.
You know, I'm not taking the Bowman to Finanza.
Nope.
I'm taking the Weller.
Yeah. If it was available. Again, here we go back to the
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of going to be dependent on what's going on.
Yep, absolutely. And even, you know, I know we had it, you know, when we first started tonight, the Russell's 10, like that'd be a Finanza bringer. That'd be an everyday drinker. That doesn't have to be a Friday night special.
No. No, not at all.
Maybe you should stop talking about it. The more people talk about that Russell's 10, the more it's probably going to drive the price and demand up on it. But, But
don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I know. I went to go try to find one today, and they were sold out again.
So I guess it's for anyone watching, it's depending on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want an easy drinker every day?
Yep.
You know, drinker, and if you can find it for a decent price, it's going to be the Weller. If you want something that's going to be something a little bit more special, or you just want to sit down and have a nice drink on a Friday or Saturday night, and you just want to really chill out and have a nice drink and really enjoy it. For anyone that drinks bourbon, I have to explain it to other people is like drinking bourbon is not like drinking beer.
Yep.
It's a lot different. You're going to sip it. You're going to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to enjoy those complexities. And if you get around other people that drink whiskey or scotch or bourbon or anything like that can appreciate it, it's more fun to sit down and enjoy that pour. And if you're going to just sit down to have a drink after you've had a crappy Wednesday, I'm going Weller. If I'm going down to, you come over to my place on a Friday or Saturday and we're sitting around the campfire, shooting the bull and telling lies and stories, I'm going to go pour you a glass of the Bowman. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I'm at.
Friday night, guests, when you have guests over, that kind of stuff that would appreciate the bottle, John J. Bowman, I think, is going to be your go-to with it. So, on 3... we're going to say simultaneously which one we think is going to win the fresh crack fight.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Bowman. I gotta give it my reasoning for it is you're gonna have a better chance of finding that at a fair value in New York than a Weller in New York, and that's my big staple reasoning for this.
Yeah.
Is for people watching this that want to try to find that bottle in New York. Again, we're not talking Ohio or Texas, or whatever. Finding one and possibly finding one consistently to have 2 or 3 maybe over a course of a whole year for yourself, and friends and stuff. I think you'll be better off finding Bowmans than 2 or 3 Wellers and at a fraction of the cost in New York.
So it's a better buy overall in New York.
It's a better buy for what you can buy them for.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So if you live in Ohio and you find a bottle of Wellers, just send it our way.
Yep, just send us a couple cases.
It'll be fine. We'll send you a good gift package.
Yeah, we'll send you a hoodie. For sure.
Maybe too.
I will send you a hoodie. But, so we're going to push the Bowman through. As much as I would love to push that Weller through, the only reason I'm not is because of the craziness and the hype around the Weller. Again, like we said, though, it's not a $100 bottle. It's not a $60 bottle.
No.
That's a $50, $60 bottle. And that's where I got to give the nod to the Bowman over the Weller.
I feel like the Bowman has a niche. It's that $60 niche right there.
It's quintessential bourbon.
And
that's bourbon. That's what bourbon should taste like for $50.
And when I think
$60.
About things like, okay, you're in that, $20 to $40 bottle, and then you're in that $50 to $70 bottle, and then you're in that $80 to $100 bottle, and within those ranges, you're going to have different deviations from those prices, right?
Yep.
So when you get in that $40 to $60 bottle range, that Bowman's at the top.
Oh, in the 50, 60? Yeah, I mean...
For that price range.
I'm just trying to think of what else. I mean, the McKenna 10 is the only one I would probably put close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Blade and Bow is just not my flavor enough to put in that. That's in the same bracket. That's Nate's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some good ones in that. But that one, and it's Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 1. And again, I didn't even know that until we Googled that quick between, shooting and getting the videos set up and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
God, that one was just good.
I'm really glad that you had me buy that.
Yeah, I'm really glad it was still there when you went to buy that. So, again, I mean, and this is the real deal on Fresh Crack Friday. John J. Bowman on complexity, overall flavor, value, everything. I mean, it hits everything other than just, drinkability at the price.
Yeah.
For what we can get it for. Again, like I said, if this was down in Ohio and this was $25,
different story.
I probably would go the Weller on a $25 split. But cheapest I've seen it this year was over $100.
Yeah. And that makes a difference.
That makes a ton of difference. Again, and even if it was at the $50 price point, it would go to the Bowman.
Yeah.
It's got to be down in that budget screw top tier to win right now. And it's not.
And in that range, in that screw top tier, it'd be at the very top.
Yeah. It definitely punches the top. It goes into that $40 class.
Yeah.
It jumps into that flirting with the top in that $40 range.
Yeah.
Which is, what I would pay for it.
Right.
I would pay $35, $40 for, a couple of them to sit in the cabinet and stuff like that, so I can enjoy them when I want to enjoy a nice weeded Weller. So
awesome. So we got a winner.
We got a winner, John J. Bowman.
Again, moving on.
John J. Bowman. What's that? 1, 2, 3 straight weeks for Bowman. Beat the Willet.
Beat the Willet. Beat the 1792.
And beat the Weller.
Beat the Weller. So I picked a winner.
Yep, you picked the winner.
Well, actually, bought a winner.
You bought the winner.
You picked it.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It was fun. Thanks.
Yeah, I would cheers you, but both were so good.
I got like a little smidge left.
I'm surprised.
Thanks again, Ben, for having me. It's been awesome. So
absolutely
much fun. Appreciate it. So
yeah, and check in next time for the Fresh Crack Friday video. We'll be doing another Fresh Crack again against a Bowman to see if we can unseat this thing. It's had the longest run so far on the Fresh Crack Friday.
It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough. It's got to take something special. So we'll see. what happens. But we do our podcast every Wednesday. If you guys want to like and subscribe to the channel, there'll be a little click down in the bottom of this video at the end of it for you to get over to the channel if you're not a subscriber and like these videos, everything like that. We really appreciate it. Like always, Management Mondays, we do a whole slurry of videos. So trying to give the different kinds of viewers everything they want.
Absolutely.
So, cool. Thanks again, Keith.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Thank you
You're
guys
welcome.
for all tuning in. Catch y'all next time down here at the bar on a Fresh Crack Friday.
See you.
See ya.